Welcome, my friend. Are not the beauty and majesty of nature truly splendid? There is serenity here that cannot be found in the city. It is the ideal place to contemplate the secrets and mysteries of the cosmos. Just now, I was wondering why the Great Serpent chose the form that he did. Why not a bird, or a groat, or some other creature? Why not a woman, or a man, or a child? Of course, it's folly to think that I, a lowly mortal, could even begin to grasp the mind of the divine. And yet, a curious mind cannot be stilled. It will seek answers. A kindred spirit, then? Wonderful. Let us share a brief meditation in celebration of this meeting. Now close your eyes and breathe in deeply. Be calm. Do you feel that? It is the presence of the Great Serpent, omnipotent and all-seeing. Such divine communion purifies us and makes us strong. You may think this is a chance meeting, but I know the truth. The Great Serpent has a plan for us all, my friend, and this encounter is a part of it. A tantalizing question. For what purpose has the Great Serpent brought you to me? Do you bring news from the city? Or do you perhaps come in search of wisdom? Is this meeting a turning point in my life? And you are the agent of that change? I have no doubt that a great revelation awaits me. So Ligiana has at last found a new courier. Great Serpent be praised. This package of dried and salted groat's meat will sustain me in my contemplations. So captivated am I by the Serpent's mysteries, I sometimes go days without remembering to eat. I know it's customary to pay upon receipt, but let me pose you this question. If we carry out the will of the Great Serpent, is that not the greatest reward of all? Compared to such divine favor, the worth of a few credits is a mere pittance. Your eyes see clearly, and your heart is pure, my friend. The Great Serpent smiles upon us both.
I'm in need of a med pack. Do you have one? The shrouding, bless you. I'm already starting to feel the effects. 1,001 thank yous. Just for you, starting with this one. Thank you very, very much. Aha! I thought as much. So, you were here picking up where I left off, yes? Here, this log should come in handy. A conversation I recorded discreetly. It mentions a location called Jandar's Rest, and an encrypted slate with coordinates. We do! The woods, we are not out of them yet. I'll stay here until the coast is clear. Lots of zealots still about. After, I think it's best I disappear. Better they think I'm playing cards with the Great Serpent than with their secrets. Not even my cousins in House Dulkef can know. Agreed? Somewhere off-world, smuggle myself out, maybe. There's only so many places in Dazra to hide. The haystack is much bigger out there, in space. Easy for needles to get lost. And think of the irony. This time, it's a good thing that the shipment is getting lost. No, don't do that. She's trustworthy, I think. But better for her safety. And mine if she doesn't know. Oh, one more thing. Before I got thumped in the head and my thoughts spilled, I seem to recall I had another sling. I kept it in the vent in Kisrani's office. Maybe it'll help you investigate, maybe it won't, but it's there if you need it.
Thank you, Envoy. I'll consider it. Was there anything else?
Yes, there was one more thing. Regarding the missing supplies, I was wondering if I could be of any assistance. Our agents mostly work in the settled systems, but I have contacts in Dazra as well. I can set up a meeting at the Halls of Obedience.
I appreciate the support. My mind has been frazzled as of late.
It's understandable. The accident has affected all of us.
You're right, and your concern is welcome. I apologize. The Envoy and I were just discussing matters of state.
In particular, I offered to help find the missing supplies. I have my people looking into the matter as well.
Thank you for your diligence, Envoy. On that note, I hate to take up any more of your time than I already have. And I'm sure you're busy with issues regarding your own house. If you don't mind, I'd like a moment with the Vindicator alone.
Then I'll take my leave. The cortege has arrived at the spaceport, and I don't like to leave the crew waiting.
Thank you, Envoy.
Executor.
I appreciate your discretion. The Envoy is a trusted figure, but you can never be too careful in situations like this.
Don't worry. This isn't our first rodeo. We know how to keep a secret.
Well said. On my side, I am thankful to have people who understand confidentiality and discretion. And while having the conversation here isn't entirely secure, we're pressed for time, so it'll have to do. So, now that we're alone, tell me, what have you uncovered? I was afraid of that. If only I had preached more caution. But after the accident, things were dire. Our resources were blocked. We needed those supplies, and... I don't know. Rules must be followed. Procedures are in place for a reason. But you're right. If the criminals can work outside the law, we must do the same to catch them. If the Zealots are responsible, they must be punished. But one question remains. How would they gain access to the shipments in the first place?
Seems to me you've got a traitor in your ranks.
I don't want to jump to conclusions, but it looks that way. This slate you found, it mentions a contact. Someone on the inside. This person would have to be well versed in our operational pipeline. They would have to know where to route the shipments and how to clean the books. It seems unfathomable. But perhaps Hukaru was right. A member of the noble houses has betrayed us. It's very likely that is the case. As for which house, well, I'm not sure at this point. House Vithal would have the authority to put supplies on hold and confiscate them. House Kadik would have the intel and spies, and the supplies were ordered by my people at House Dulkef. Yes, but without coordinates, Jandar's rest could be anywhere on Varun Kai. We're going to need to enlist some help. I'd like you to speak with Tivina Vithal at the Keep. If that slate has coordinates, she may have the means to decrypt it. Myself and some others were having dinner at the meat house. From our vantage point, we couldn't see what was happening outside the scaled citadel, but I could hear the blast searing into my skull. I remember falling from my chair, trying to get my bearings in this period of eerie silence, and then I heard the screams. Do not let her cheery demeanor fool you. She has a reputation around these parts for being a ruthless hunter of heretics. If she doesn't know the location of the hideout, at the very least she'll have a lead. My mind goes immediately to motive. Who would want to aid the Zealots? I want to be careful, but I will say this. There are members of the noble houses who have floated the idea of reconciliation in the past. But to make a suggestion is one thing. Without approval from the Speaker, the act is treason. Well, if the implication is my cousin is the conspirator, his death disproves that theory. But I'm not averse to keeping that information between us. They are fiercely loyal to House Varun and are in charge of rooting out zealotry in our ranks. Only one thing troubles me, though. If a shipment were put on hold and confiscated, it would likely go to them first. Excellent. As for me, I must mourn my cousin's passing. I understand there's a shrine upstairs, although it seems to be occupied at the moment. When you return, meet me at the Halls of Obedience, where we first met. By Genon's grace, we'll find out who the supply thief is and bring them to justice. You may have noticed, but I've been on the move a lot lately. I don't mean to alarm you, but I think I'm being followed. I'll feel more comfortable if we meet in a public place. Mujin suggested a security detail, and I think I may take him up on his offer. If nothing else, but for peace of mind. When you betray House Varun, there is only one kind. Serpent guide you, and be safe.
Did Victor finally relinquish the access code? Slowly but surely. It's a shame the houses aren't more forthcoming. You'd think they would have wanted to aid the situation from the beginning, but they remained self-absorbed as ever. Excellent. We'll finally have the resources to fully charge the morning device. Now, let's hope Houses Kadik and Dul Kef are as forthcoming.
Politics can wait. Every moment we delay, and Nasco descends further into the void.
For the last time, faith will not remove the barrier. Science will.
It is the hubris of science that failed you in this moment. We reached out to the Great Serpent. This is his reply.
You claim he has forsaken us?
I do no such thing. The Great Serpent's reply is not an answer, but a question. Are we worthy of his grace? Until that is proven, your works will not succeed. To be promised requires more than just faith. This calamity is one test of many we will endure until the shrouding. Just as wine is born from the blood of a grape, our lives are a trial. We must spill our souls before the Great Serpent and countenance his judgment.
It sounds like you agree with me.
And yet, only one is the foundation for the other. But the proof is not in our words. It is in the vision. Anasco's presence still persists in this world, and he seeks our aid.
Fine. I feel like I've lived this argument 1,000 times, and the only way to move past it is to concede to its nonsense. Vindicator, speak to my sister. Agree to her fool's errand so that we may continue the work of saving this city.
I have seen visions of Anasco, searching for one bold enough to enter the heart of the vortex. And now that you are here, I know your arrival was no accident, but rather providence. The Great Serpent has guided you here. From the moment you found the Oracle to the words I speak to you now. And yet, you crossed paths with the Oracle and found our city hidden among the stars. The Great Serpent drew a path for you, trickles of the greater plan drawing you here. But rest assured, all will be revealed when you journey north. At the edge of the crater, you will find a cave carved by the anomaly. There, you will make contact with a Nasco Varun.
Are we sure about this? Sounds like a bit of a gamble.
The Great Serpent has blessed me with the sight, and I have seen events there that are only now beginning to take shape. It is as the Great Serpent foretold. In my visions, I witnessed two futures. In the first, you breached the scaled citadel, but found Anasco had sunk too far into the void. And in time, all of Dazra was consumed along with him. The anomaly spread, absorbing all in its path. The crater you see now is nothing compared to the destruction looming ahead. Indeed, but there is another path. In the second future, I saw you make contact with Anasco, entering a cave through a formless wall. At its terminus was a gate, a path into the realm where our speaker resides. You stepped into this void, and in that moment, something changed. The false future, rewritten.
Roughly speaking, it could be that entering the vortex directly would allow you to speak with him. And while my readings do not show any anomalous activity, I admit there's a lot of interference. Still, that only emphasizes the potential danger involved here. I cannot approve of such an excursion on the minute chance Anasco is present. Not in the way you and I speak, but in crude terms, yes, provided you manage to maintain your own sanity through the process. But this is all purely theoretical. No one has ever entered the vortex and come back. The closer one ventures to the heart of the anomaly, the closer they are to the phantoms and horrors that lie within. Moreover, if this cave was cut open by the calamity itself, then it is an unnatural formation and highly unstable. I am no heretic, but to risk so much on a vision, it is a leap of faith I cannot condone. I will not stand in your way, however, as Inaza has stood in ours.
You may not realize it now, dear brother, but our goals are one and the same. No, it was born from the incident itself, but I believe it is there. And what is faith but to give form to the formless? As a herald, it is my duty to make real what is unseen. It was a winding cave, scattered with walls of dark energy. At the end, a rip in the fabric of reality. In my vision, I saw you step forward, slowly, following the sound of Anasco's voice. I could hear him calling to you in the distance. His words were jumbled, but as you drew closer, they started to assemble. I was thrust out of the vision before I could see the end. Then you must embark to the northern edge of the crater. You will find an entrance there, one that has no form. Step through it, find Anasco, and complete the vision. Only then will his voice be heard.
Have you abandoned me, Great Serpent? Do you not hear my pleas? You understand me? Hear my voice? But I do not know you, even if you are promised. I hesitate to ask, but what manner of being are you? Do you truly serve his will? Yes, he works through you and built the path to guide you to me. I have reached out so many times to hear nothing but echoes. Yet you, an outsider, hear me plain. And for the first time, I hear you. Clearly your arrival here is fated. By stepping into this void, we are now linked. There is still reason to hope. The Great Serpent will see us through. But time is short. The bridge collapses. The gate is still open. The experiment still runs. Find me in the Scaled Citadel. I will wait for you there.
Your life, your purpose, has been forever changed. You return. What news do you have of Anasco? Then my vision did not betray me.
Well, it would seem I owe you an apology, sister.
There is no need, brother. Your skepticism only strengthens us.
As you say. But, to the matter at hand, did Anasco mention anything that could aid us in his extraction? Then we must continue our work on the morning device, but it is comforting to have confirmation. And if you've spoken to him once, it's not out of the realm of possibility you could do it again.
It is much more than that. Normally when I pray for Anasco's return, I sense he is lost, fading. But when I last prayed to the Great Serpent, I felt Anasco's presence clear and distinct. Even as it receded, I felt him anchored to this world. Yes, there are some who suggest that when Jinan communed with the Great Serpent, a similar bond had been established. I believe the same is true for you and Anasco.
I would need time to attempt a scientific explanation for why or how this happened, but for now, let us assume my sister is correct.
This husks comments aside, that is the essence of faith. Not all things require explanation. I do not know what lies ahead. My visions do not go beyond this point. But I do know this link would play a role. In fact, I am certain of it.
Agreed. And with this settled, we can now continue the work of aligning the noble houses. Together, we will find a way to complete the morning device.
Vindicator. I was wondering when you graced my office with your presence. Oh, yes. You've communed with phantoms, survived the ritual, and returned Varric safe and sound. I'm not against the occasional embellishment on your behalf, believe me. Really, well, let me apologize for appearing to be. I can't imagine what I was thinking, letting you slip away. In fact, I think you and I are going to be fast friends. But I realize that's not why you're here, Shall we get down to business? Excellent. I take it this is about the missing supplies. I may have some intel on my computer that could help you with your case. Ship departure records that match the date supplies went missing, as well as employment records for individuals working the spaceport. If the supplies left Dazra, cross-referencing their confiscation dates with the spaceport logs will put a big flashing arrow pointed at the suspect. But we can discuss that in detail after you've read the records. Well, look at that. The Great Serpent favors us both. It just so happens that one of my agents recently recovered a Zealot cipher key and dropped it off this morning. Here, a copy of the key for your records. Well, as you can see, the encryption they're using is mind-numbingly simple. Take the slate number and multiply the even numbers by 2. Your slate's numbered 2032, which means the key is... You hit the bullseye! Let's see what you've won. Looks like an all-expenses paid journey to John Dar's Rest. Lucky you. Okay, scanning the coordinates, these point further north, hidden in Badlands. Clever, clever. Of course. Resources are thin, but maybe I can squeeze in a squadron or two should you get in a pinch. But that aside, let's get to the guts of the issue, After reading through the evidence, where do you think the supply thief is from? That's highly unlikely, given how intimate the thief's knowledge is of our pipeline. It's not only suspicious, it's dirty too. No, I think it's someone on the inside. Well, whoever the thief is. I think it's all but guaranteed you'll find more clues at John Dar's Rest. Now, since you have what you need, I'm going to turn my attention to other matters. I've enjoyed our time together, but as they say, fish and guests are quick to stink. Let's avoid that from happening to us.
The duel is off, and it should never have happened to begin with. The truth is that when the duel was sabotaged, I had never felt so relieved in my life. I do not want to kill you, Amila. I am ashamed to have ever challenged you. I am sorry. I understand if you never want to speak with me again. I am disgusted in myself.
Oh, come now, brother. I deserved it all. You have shown me nothing but patience for years. But even the patience of a saint can run out.
No jokes, Amila, please. I just want you to know that I am sorry.
I am too. I will try to be better. I cannot make any promises. All I can say is that I will try. I want to make things right with you, with everyone. But I just do not know where to start.
It is all right, Amila. One thing at a time. I was a fool, and I thank the Great Serpent that you and Danica took action to stop me. I am ashamed. Yet somehow, there was one blessing that came out of this travesty. I apologized to Amila for challenging him. And he apologized to me, and well, I believed him. I feel hopeful for his future for the first time in so many years.
I feel hopeful. And I also feel that I owe you an apology. Danica was right. The duel was asinine. And we would have regretted it. My pride was hurt. But if I lost Borhall... Enough of this sentimental growth shit. Just thank you.
Oh, hello. Have we met before? Is it? Then I apologize. I thought it was rather simple, but maybe I'm mistaken. I've been trying to keep everything here sorted, based on a personal system. The problem is that it's all gotten to be too much, and I can't find my things. Yes, I pick a word that reminds me of another word, and that makes me remember where it is. There might be a slate around here that has more details. Maybe look around for those. Well, my keycard for one, socks for another, and one more thing. Something important, I think. Not my socks, but socks. He's a dog plushie. White as a pair of socks, if I recall correctly. Of course, no guarantee that I do. Oh, several things. I just don't recall what they are. maybe it was for Dora? I'm sorry. I'm so forgetful these days. No, but I'll know it when I see it. I think. Oh, that would be grand. This seems more like a two-person job. With my system and your gusto, we'll find exactly what I'm looking for. Whatever it was.
Look, I know that you're running out of shelf space, but you really shouldn't put things on the hearth. There's a whole box of paper towels here for no reason. And don't get me started on the stuff in the cook pit.
Well, I don't put it there on purpose. I'm in the living room, and I need some place to put things, and it sort of happens. Also, I was trying to keep round things together. Round circle, round things. And Sox's helmet is round. I have a whole system based on word association.
It's no wonder you're always losing your things. You keep too many notes. It's confusing.
It makes sense to me.
It just looks like word spaghetti. Like, why does this say keycard, rock thrown at my face?
Duck.
Huh?
When someone throws a rock at you, you duck. I keep my keycard under it, in the sink. And sinks make me think of sinking. That's what happens to forgotten memories. They sink into the depths of your brain.
Pachinon, that's a terrible system. Just a reminder, I'll be over tomorrow to help organize your things. The trash goes into the bin, but the clutter we can place on the shelves. We'll get everything sorted and just how you like it. Love you and see you soon. You'll never guess what I found. It's a music box.
Oh, that old thing? It probably doesn't even work anymore.
Well, that's because you never sing to it.
Pardon?
You have to train this kind of box. You fill it with a song, and it will remember the melody and play it back to you.
Oh, I don't know. Are you sure that's how it works?
Lost, alone, amidst the dreams, whispers, a voice sings for our trapped world, unheard.
That's a very catchy song. Hard to forget. Like an earworm.
Worms in your ears would be hard to forget.
I'm just saying, if I heard it, I would remember this day. Remember us. So would you, I think.
Well, I plan on sticking around for a while, but okay, deal. If something were to happen and we forget each other, we'll play this song to remember.
Deal. What is that? A music box? I don't remember owning that. I wonder if it even works. Would you mind? I'm not very good with these things, but hopefully it still has a little bit of song inside. I remember now. This song. It's the one my granddaughter used to sing. She used to help me around the house, doing chores, tidying up, and then the accident happened. And I haven't seen her since. Have you ever had a dream that was so vivid you thought you would never forget it? Then you wake up, and none of it remains. Only a longing for something you'll never have back. Most days, that's what I feel. Empty and alone, but never sure why. But when I hear that music, the dream becomes real again. And it's too much for this old man to bear. Yes. She was volunteering at the old orphanage in the heart of the city when the accident happened. So many were lost. So many. And yet, I still had hope she would return. But every day that passed, I could feel the hope in my heart start to wane. And when you played that song, I felt an emptiness swell over me. And I realized she's never coming back. I know you mean well, but I can't keep doing this. The more I cling to the idea she's still alive, the harder it gets. If you don't mind, I have a favor to ask. Keep the music box with you. The song, it carries too many memories. And with it, a pain I wish to forget. Yes, and it's my choice. If you have mercy, let me live with it. Thank you. You need not do anything special with it. But I can't bear the sight of it. Now, if you'll kindly leave, I must get back to my things.
So, how did it go with Reagan? Sadly, that's the way of things at the moment. These days, it's hard to account for who's missing and who's gone. But the difference hardly matters. Loss is loss, no matter the form. In any case, thank you for doing this for me. I'm sure your visit helped him, if only for a moment. If you don't mind, can you come back in a day or two? I will have more work for you then. I most certainly will. Tazra's problems are many, but its character continues to shine through in people like yourself. Regardless, even if our paths do not cross again, Jinan bless you for your assistance.
Please, Jamal. Don't you see how all this works in our favor? It's not up for discussion. I won't risk what we've worked so hard to achieve. It's done.
No, you'd risk our future and reputation as a house. But you are the chosen elder.
Don't patronize me. The Great Serpent spared our house. We are favored here. And shouldn't you get back to the council? We can't afford to be absent at a time like this.
I guarantee I'm not missing much. But you're right. I'll be heading back soon enough.
So, Akris has sent our newest Vindicator to inquire about Sahima. Don't worry, Jamal's already told me all about you. I'm Razma, Elder of House Kadik and head of the Ministry of Conjunction. The Ministry of Conjunction is one of the 3 government branches of our society. We deal in information to ensure the High Council can make educated decisions. Most of our work is highly classified. Even the High Council itself may not be aware of all that we're involved in. House Kadik is one of the 3 noble houses under House Varun. We've a reputation on being the more moderate of the 3. Not as fervent as House Vithal, and not as passive as House Dolkef. We're also largely associated with the Ministry of Conjunction, since I lead the department. Well, it's also an honor to meet one as interesting as yourself. I wouldn't have suspected an outsider to be made promised. But who am I to argue with the Great Serpent's choice? I understand, and I can't argue the importance. I know the Council is looking to Sahima for answers, but the truth is, she's been taken, along with other members of the House. They're being held hostage by zealots, and now they're demanding negotiations.
Dealing with zealots is never pretty.
Because right now, this situation is a matter for the Ministry of Conjunction. As much as the Council thinks it's their business, it's not. At least not yet. They want Sahima, and we're trying to produce her. What happened to Dazra was a cataclysmic event. The city may seem in order now, but those first few days, it was chaos. And the Zealots took advantage. As much as I'd welcome the expertise, the Zealots would never allow an outsider to participate. But the negotiations aren't where I need assistance. The Zealots have yet to name specifics. At best, they'll demand an inordinate amount of credits or firearms. Worst case, a seat at the High Council or even the reinstatement of their house. House Malene. They know we can't risk Sahima for Dazra's sake. So, they won't hold back when it comes to demands. They had a house. House Malene was abandoned a long time ago, but there are some who'd want to see it reinstated. House Malene was fully dedicated to Jandar Varun. They objected when his brother, Jarek, was chosen to take over as leader. They knew he would bring an end to the Serpent's crusade. It's why they abandoned their house and became the zealots you know today, to continue what they believe is Jinan and Jandar's work. Jinan Varun had twin sons, Jarek and Jandar. Jandar fully supported the Serpent's crusade, and to many in House Malene, was the best suited to take over for his father. Yes, and it's exactly why I need the upper hand in these negotiations. I need you to find the hostages. Bring them home, so the Zealots have nothing to leverage, and Sahima can work with the High Council. Normally, I'd have agents doing everything possible to find them. But we too suffered losses. We need to be here, present. I couldn't risk more lives. It's the only reason I even agreed to these negotiations. But now that you're here, I can finally take action. Of course. But the negotiations offered a chance to get Sahima and the others back without putting lives at risk. I saw the chance and had to take it. As demanding as I'd expected the Zealots to be, I fully intended to do everything in my power to bring them within reason. And that is where the issue lies. I don't know where the Zealots are keeping Sahima, but I have a good idea who does. Their name is Merrick. Merrick is a Kadik, and they also work for me as an agent in the Ministry of Conjunction. This is where matters get complicated. Once I made the decision to go through with the negotiations, it wasn't necessary. Now that the situation has changed, well, that's going to be your job now. It's not the family name that complicates matters here. As I said, Merrick works for me in the Ministry of Conjunction. They've been establishing an inside relationship with the Zealots for some time now. On my orders. Forcing them to give up the information could jeopardize all they've worked for. So don't expect them to be forthcoming. Get the information any way you see fit. As long as no physical harm comes to them.
No physical harm? I suppose I can charm it out of them.
The Zealots don't trust easily. If their location was discovered, Merrick would most likely be the first they'd suspect. They'd never trust them or any agent of House Kadik again. The people of Dazra look to us elders for strength and guidance. We cannot fail them at a time like this. Don't let my composure fool you, promised? It's neither easy, nor something I take lightly. What better way to surveil a threat? It's important for us to know what the Zealots may be targeting, to stay one step ahead. Merrick is proud of what they've accomplished, so I doubt they'll give up information easily. If being persuasive isn't your strong suit, perhaps appealing to their substantial ego may help. If you can stomach it. Just don't be direct. I'm sure it would put them on the defensive. Either that, or make them completely unwilling to talk. See that you do. You'll find Merrick upstairs in the meditation room.
You're no member of House Kadik. What are you doing here? Oh, so you're the heretic turned vindicator who thinks they're one of us now. So tell me, what would a chosen one such as yourself want with someone like me? I'm sorry, did you say zealots? Why would I know anything about such extremists? Absolutely ridiculous. After all I've done. I guess this means the High Council is still asking Auntie Razma where Sahima is. And if you're here making demands, she obviously has decided to make use of you rather than undergo sincere negotiations. I see what's going on here. Well, I am one of the few to garner any amount of trust with the Zealots, so she should be. I can't imagine where the Ministry of Conjunction would be without me. Yes, I can see the jealousy all over their faces. It's nice to see I'm being properly recognized. I may excel in my skills, but it doesn't mean the hours I put in are any less. Exactly. There's still research, analysis, documentation. Too much documentation, if you ask me. But altogether, I have the exact talents needed to do this job, which is why I was entrusted with the Zealots in the first place. I admit it hasn't always been easy. They are Zealots, you know. I see you're familiar with standard Zealot tactics. But it's really all about crafting the perfect scenario to encounter the right one. You don't just waltz up and say hello. It takes a great deal of surveillance and profiling to determine the right approach. Some days, it takes everything. I can't even tell you how much time and effort it's been to sway the Zealots my way. Not to mention the stress over my own personal well-being. I may be the best at what I do, but I'm not stupid. The Zealots do have the element of unpredictability. I had a feeling this conversation was going to take a turn. I've worked hard to obtain my position with the Zealots. And like I've told Rosma 1,000 times, I have no reason to believe they're going to hurt my dear cousins, especially Sahima. So, as far as I'm concerned, that information stays with me. You make a good point for an outsider. And perhaps I should take your presence here as a sign. The location you're looking for is Shadow Station Epsilon. It's an old Varun base that they've taken over for themselves. Rosma will know it. Let her tell you the details, seeing as how I'm about to be reassigned. Isn't the answer obvious? The Zealots will know the location came from me. All that hard work thrown out the window because someone refuses to undergo negotiations. It better.
You must have gotten the location. I figured they wouldn't be completely forthcoming. If my intel is correct, you can find Shadow Station Epsilon in the Badlands, north of Dazra. I can send you the coordinates. The Shadow Stations were established during the Serpent's Crusade. A series of secret military installations that few knew about, and even fewer may remember. The idea was to have isolated centers focused on different aspects of furthering the Crusade. This way, if one fell, it wouldn't endanger the others. Epsilon was once a research station, with a focus on grav drive manipulation. The Zealots have since vastly expanded upon it. But it makes sense if they intend to use Sahima to their advantage. Shadow Station Epsilon is one of many Zealot bases scattered throughout. As I mentioned before, I wasn't willing to risk agent lives in order to scout them all. The sooner the better.
We'll bring everyone back safe and sound.
Now that we have a rescue mission underway, I'll speak to Merrick about setting up the negotiations. I expect them to be pliable after their last encounter with you. The current plan is to hold them at one of the geothermal power stations. Meet us there when Sahima and the others are safe. It's a fairly neutral location, and just the right distance from Dazra, so both parties will feel safe. The geothermal stations are also autonomous in nature, so we don't have to worry about unwanted eyes and ears. If memory serves, it's southeast of Shadow Station Epsilon. It shouldn't be too hard to find. Good. Serpent willing, your timing will line up. I'll stall the Zealots as long as I can, which shouldn't be an issue. That being said, I'd still appreciate it if you could act quickly. Now, Jamal wants an update before you leave. Just don't let her distract you for too long.